Hey guys, just another quick video on my project for today is to roll my rear fender wells on the STI, and just wanted to show you guys a couple things. So I went ahead and I bought this device from Amazon. It was, I think, $40, and it's worked quite well. It has, one of the things that I like is that it came with these conical spacers that allowed me to go ahead and use my conical lug nuts. So if I take this one out, you can see that that is has a nice little seat to it. So these are not spacers to go behind this plate as some other videos that I've seen. If you need more clearance, you gotta find a device that has this pin that allows you to transition this main beam farther in and also lower. So if your car's a little bit lowered, you may not be able to get it to work here. I think it's just a matter of pulling this pin out with that safety cotter pin, and then you get things to work. So anyway, this is a very simple exercise. And before I forget, I'm just going to tighten this little guy in real quick. I love this, by the way, so I can program settings so I don't over torque things. Anyway, back to the video. So you want to set this up so that it's squeezing the lip here on the car. So my goal is to squeeze all this back to more or less diagonal this way, more or less where this mark is, and just fold this in nice and tight, and then also get it so it's somewhere over here. So one of the things that I want to point out is these Subarus have a rubber piece of trim that gets painted with the car. Again, this is a kind of a cool thing, I guess, so tires don't rub and get cut up, but since we're rolling the fenders in, it doesn't matter. And as you start to heat up the paint, this thing will start to just break off, so it's really no big deal. Right now I'm using it as a protection against the roller and the sheet metal, but eventually it'll start coming off, and then I'll have to at some point when I get somewhere over here, I'll just have to just get a little X-Acto knife and just cut it off nicely on both ends. Let me see if I can show you what the end result looks like. Give me 1 second. Alright, so here's the other end of the car, which I've already done. You can see the trim just kind of breaks off there, and then the sheet metal starts to taper in, and it's nice, and I was able to get it to, so it's like 180 degrees almost. It's pretty flush. There's hardly any lip to cling onto here. And the trick to doing this is basically taking your time. So just take your time and not rush it. So now I'm able to just, if I needed to, or if it happens, the wheel tucks in, it won't scuff off. Just come around the car real quick. They won't scuff like this. Hopefully, I'm not concerned about that, because once I start tracking those tires, that'll be gone. So it's really no big deal. So how am I doing this? Well, it's pretty simple. I have this Wagner heat gun, and this is a lot better than using a blow dryer. This thing will just heat up things very quickly, and what I've been doing is I've been applying heat like this right to the paint, and just really trying to get underneath here, you know, just trying to get there, trying to get that trim, because this here is the critical part where you don't want your paint to be cracking. And you also want to be gentle when you are working with the roller. You want to be gentle with that so that you don't pull out the fender well. So you want to touch this so it's a little bit, I don't know, slightly uncomfortable to touch, I would say. Not too hot where it'll burn you if you keep your hands there for 5 seconds or more, because at that point it's just too hot. And I'm going to stop this so I can show you, maybe just give you a different perspective like this. What you want to be able to do is, you want to be able to just take this guy and roll it. And you see how easy it just kind of rolls as I'm moving this? And it's kind of hard to see because I'm in a tight space right now. Let me see if I can show you. Just going to grab this and move it. Just got stuck there. And then just work it. You know, just left and right, left and right. There's a dip here that it's getting stuck on, but in reality it's very smooth. And as you start to get to this area that I need to start rolling in more, so this area of mine has already been rolled quite a bit. What I do is I just kind of hit it slightly back and forth, and there's a little bit of deflection here, so you want to be very careful not to just boom, just hit it in efforts to bend this with force and then deform your car. So you're going to be nice and gentle. What I'll probably end up doing is once I finish massaging this front area, I'll release the tension from this wheel slightly, so there's a big lever here, and make it so that I start to treat this area as a different portion. So a lot of people, like I'm guessing, they think of this whole arc or this whole arch as one big piece of sheet metal they got to bend, and I think that's when you start to get into problems of cracking your paint and your finish. So you see this stuff's like comes out really easily. I'll just tear it off in a minute. But if you start a section and you understand this is one radius and then this is another radius, which is really what it is, if you really study this curve, and the amount of bending that you need, then you can tailor the tool's angle and force to work on this portion here, which is different than that. And then at the end, what you can do is take the whole thing and then just kind of blend it in, you know. This is going to take a lot less pulling out than this area and this area too. So I usually like to stop right here. I don't want to start deforming this area too much because this clips onto the bumper, and then there's a little very vulnerable or weak area here on the paint. So you don't want to start stressing this too much, especially it's a corner. So I want to come in here, make it nice and flush, work this as one section. I start with this, so then I go from here to here, and then here, then do an overall blend. And this should usually take about 35 minutes to 40 minutes per side. That's how much time I spent on the other end. And I think the longer or the more careful you are, the better results you'll have. All right, so that's it. Very easy. I've never done this before, by the way, so but it's very straightforward as long as you're careful.